Artificial intelligence, or AI, has crept its way into the job market, and it's taking human beings' careers away from them. But if you have a child who is in high school and is thinking about what to do for a career, or a grandchild, man, that's going to be a gamble, trying to figure out what in the future is going to be needed from a human being that AI cannot replace. And there's a few things that I think we will always have as career choices. I'm going to go over some of these, and we're going to try to figure out for your kid or your grandkid, what can they do? Because they can't just stay there until they're 30. Well, they do that today, don't they? They stay home till they're 30 and 40, and you're doing their laundry and feeding them. And well, that's another video. Anyway, there are things that AI is very good at. You have to think about, what can AI do? AI is very good at reading. It's very good at writing. It's very good at searching. It's very good at calculating. It's very good at answering questions. And these are things that a lot of office jobs that we have today that you do. So pretty much any office job where you got to go in, you got a little cubicle or a desk where you're going to sit all day, and that's how you're earning your living, that can be replaced, and already is being replaced. Now, on the other hand, there are jobs such as plumbers, electricians, heavy equipment, mechanics. These kind of jobs require the digits. The digits AI does not have as of yet. I know when they make a picture, sometimes they'll give you human extra digits. You got to watch for that. That's how you know it's AI. They'll have 7, 8 fingers on one hand. But as of right now, they haven't made a robot that's good enough to twist some pipe together like a plumber does, or run some wire, hook it up to the circuits. They don't know how to do this yet. And I think it's going to be at least 50 years or more before we can get any kind of a artificial intelligence robot that's going to be able to do these jobs. There are jobs that a young man or woman could choose today, but this also plays into something else. Can you get them to do it? Are they going to want to do physical labor? Because a lot of the young generation today, well, they're not cut out for it. They've been raised in a lifestyle that it's just not good for picking up a shovel and digging a ditch. They're not going to want to do that. And so if they don't, at an early age, get encouraged to do something, well, they're going to be out of luck. So some of the jobs, I think, that would be good. Let's start with the trades. As I said, electrician, plumber. Electrician would be my number one pick, because they are in high demand already. And when they're putting up all these AI centers and everything goes computerized in robotics, you're still going to need electricity. You're going to need some sort, even if it's battery powered, it still has to be wired. So electricians will be in even more demand, and they're going to pay a lot more money than they're making right now, which is at least 6 figures. You get in the right place, or you own your own business, the sky's the limit. But electricians will always be in high demand, at least for the next 50 years, I'm going to say. You know, we never know what kind of technology is around the corner. So when I say it's 50 years, I'm thinking with what I know that's on the planet today. I know that we're capable of, but I can't predict what's going to come out next month or next year. But I would still say, I mean, I've been racking my brain, that would be a very safe option. Also plumbing. You're not going to find a robot and put AI into its intelligence and tell it to climb under a house and locate a leaky pipe. It may be able to do that, but you're going to encounter things with a situation like that, you know, any kind of job where something has to be, you have to use your hands and work with it, but you have to also have common sense and look at something and say, okay, this ain't the problem, but that right there is. There's a big turd blocking that pipe. That's why I wouldn't be a plumber. I don't want to be around no turds. But it's a high-paying trade. You don't have to go to college. You can find a apprenticeship program in most decent-sized cities. You can find apprenticeship programs. You can just... A young person has to be willing to go out and pound pavement and talk to some of these guys that are in this field already. Hey, man, help me get into this? And you would be surprised. A lot of them, they're screaming for help. So they're going to direct you, especially the owners of electrical plumbing companies. They're going to direct you to the right people to talk to in order to get yourself involved in this. Now, a lot of trades, like my trade, I was a journeyman press operator. I worked on the great big ship-sized printing presses for major newspapers. I also worked in small print shops, small newspapers. That trade's dead. Nobody reads papers anymore. So that is something printing. There still is printing out there. It's just something I would not recommend. The printed material is each year just less and less. You're going to start seeing no more junk mail. I mean, you already see a reduction in mail and anything that comes on paper. So, but there's diesel mechanics. I think we're still going to have diesel mechanics for, I would give that 25 more years. I think all motors, diesel, electric, gasoline, will all be built in the near future with just large removable sections that you can pull out and replace. It will become a lot cheaper. Yeah, you would think so. But I think that will change as well. That would not be something I would choose or would advise a young person to choose for if he needs a career or she needs a career that's going to last them till retirement age of 97, because I think that's what it'll be by then. But you have to also look at some of the young people today. They're not like when I was a kid. Everybody was in pretty good physical fitness, physical shape. We were physically fit. That's not really the case anymore. There's a good percentage of people under the age of 21 that are obese, and they're not crawling under no crawl space, under no home. They're not getting it. They're not going to do this physical labor. So not only is the job market changing, but the people are changing as well. With each generation, we don't improve. Things are getting worse. And hopefully a movement comes. I think they've just passed one where they're going to put the physical education back into schools. We need this. We got to get these kids busy and get them off the video games. This is terrible. There's no career for a video game person. A lot of jobs, like a carpenter. Now we'll move on to construction. There's a lot of jobs. They're going to be around for a while. Problem with construction in the United States today, if you go to any construction site, you're not going to hear the English language. Okay, this is not to put down anybody from any other country, but it's just the way it's been. You see a lot of people from the South America that are working these roofing jobs. They're working in drywall. They're doing a lot of the subcontracting, and those jobs there's still a lot of them out there, but they're ever changing, and it's going to be hard for an average white American or a black American to get into the construction trades. Not saying it couldn't be done. That's the way, I'm being bluntly honest right here. If you go to any construction site, you're going to hear Mexican music. You're going to watch them take their naps. They take their naps every break. They like their naps, their siestas, and you're going to hear Spanish. And unless you speak Spanish or you can be a supervisor or something, you're pretty much out of luck. Roofing is a big one. Carpentry, concrete. I haven't seen a non-immigrant person do concrete in many years. I'm sure there are places out where I live, rural Arkansas. There's a lot of non-immigrant people doing this kind of work. But it's something I don't think I would. And again, the physical fitness of the young person is going to come into play. They're not going to want to. They don't want to do the physical labor jobs anymore. So that would not be a good option. Healthcare. That's a tough one to predict. Because with advances in the machinery that's in healthcare, your CAT scans, that type of thing, who's to say what we're going to have in 25 years? Maybe it's going to be like you're on the Enterprise and, Dr. McCoy or whatever he is, he scans over you with a machine and, hey, whatever you had wrong is cured. If something like that were to come out, well, yeah, it's not going to come out because they want to. Big Pharma would prevent something like that. But nurses, doctors, any position, radiologist in the medical profession, I think is still good for a while. Because our society is not a healthy society. There are a lot of sick people. There are a lot of unhealthy people. There's a lot of heart problems. There's a lot of clogged arteries. There's a lot of obesity. So health care will be needed for some time to come. I don't see the health of the nation getting any better for a while because we have been fed all this garbage food and people are addicted to food. They're addicted to sugar. And when you have that issue, you're going to have poor health. It's a position, it's a career choice in the healthcare system that a lot of people just don't have the heart to get into. They can't stand the sight of blood, so it's not for everyone. There's a lot of choices, but I think you're going to see an explosion of healthcare facilities, hospitals pop up across the nation as this epidemic that we are under, which I am considering obesity, gets worse. And I've had my own battles with it, so I know what that's like. Luckily, I got out of that obesity thing, and now I'm no longer obese. But people don't learn very easily. And there's a lot of stubborn people that are saying, I love my ice cream, man. I ain't going on no diets. So you're always going to have people in poor health. There's also segments of that career that's you could deal with. They work in nursing homes. This part of the healthcare system has always had high turnover. People they don't pay very well. So, as a career choice to advise a young person to be a doctor or to be, I couldn't be a doctor today because you're pretty much a licensed drug dealer. That's basically everybody that goes to get a doctor's appointment walks out with the same prescriptions that the guy before them did. They want to get you on the high blood pressure medicine. They want to get you on the statins. They want to get you on this. They want to get you on that. It's turned into a business, a huge profitable business. So I can't recommend that as a career for anybody, but that's up to the individual. I'm not saying that's a bad choice, but honestly, in 50 years, I don't think we could even fathom where we're going to be. I think it's going to be changed so much. And what do we do with all the people? If there's no jobs, what are all the people doing? And this is only going to lead to trouble. And when you have a lot of trouble, and we're already seeing this, and crime, well, you need police officers. You need emergency responders. Now, firefighters, I believe we will always need. That is another job where you got to have the hands, you got to have the mind. And we will always need firefighters. Police officers, this is one that gets real sticky. In politics today, there are segments of the political agenda that want to eliminate police altogether. And they want to defund police. They just want to get rid of them. Well, what's going to happen when you have a major city that no longer has police officers. They want to send social workers. Oh, this guy beat this guy up. Let's send a social worker to break that fight up. It doesn't work that way. What you're going to end up having is a city full of chaos. And without police officers, guess what happens? It's only going to go like that for so long before the government says, all right, we got to send in the troops. And they'll send in the military. That city will go under martial law, and you will have soldiers standing on every single corner. Because we can't have a society where it's violent, where you can steal anything you want with no repercussions. We can't have that. So to get rid of the police is foolish. You can hate them or you can love them. But we do need some sort of law and order because not everybody follows the same rules you do. So I would recommend nobody to pick that as a career choice. It used to be something that was respected. And now they have to watch everything they do or they're gonna be in behind bars themselves. So I don't know how anybody would want to be a police officer today. Firefighters, yes, that's a respected job. It is a dangerous job. Again, you need to have good physical fitness for this position. Now, this is a job I don't think AI is ever going to take. You're going to need somebody to put out the fires. And in this country, we don't have enough people putting fires out, and we got a lot of fires. The military. Believe it or not, we have always had militias. We have always had the military. We've had an army. We've had a navy. We've had an air force and marines. I think in the future you're going to see less soldiers. Take a look at what has happened recently with Iran. We haven't put one boot on Iranian soil, yet we're using drones. We're using the Air Force. We're using smart missiles. We can take a missile and we can guide it inside of a window. And so when you have weapons like this, you don't need a platoon of men on the ground. Now, there are situations where this will be necessary, and we still may have to do, I believe we need to do this still with Iran, because they're never gonna follow any kind of an agreement. And for those kind of countries, you do have to go in and physically take out the leaders. You're just going to have to. But this is going to reduce people in the military as well. And this really it is AI, but not really. It's technology that we are developing, new weapons that are being developed that's going to eliminate the need to have massive amounts of soldiers. So the military, I would give it 25 years, and that's generous. But if you do recommend any of your children to go into the military, it is some of the best training in the world. And not only is it some of the best training, but they train you quickly. They drill it into your mind. People are sought after that come out of the military. Pilots, computer people. These are highly sought after people because these companies know that they've had the best training. I went to Firefighter Academy in Chanute Air Force Base when I was in the Army. Yes, I was in the Army. They sent me to the Air Force Base for training. The best school in the world. I never did pick that as a career choice. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But I could have walked into any fire station in the entire country and said, hey, I went to Chanute Air Force Base. I went to the Firefighter Academy, and I would have been hired. And I just never picked that as a career choice. Maybe I should have. It just wasn't something I enjoyed. And so I didn't do that. I don't know. I would not want to have that future. I'm glad I'm the age I am, and I just hope that the younger generations can figure it all out, because we're all, guys my age ain't going to be here very much longer. And if some tragic event happens, they may need skills that we have that they never bothered to learn. I hope that doesn't happen, but the way things are going, man, nobody knows. So it's a position I would not want to be in. I'm glad I'm the age I am, and it requires a lot of thought. It's going to require a lot of thought. This is where older people need to step in, is now, because if you have your son or your grandson come up and say, I want to be a auto mechanic, man, that's something you really got to think long and hard and try to predict how is the auto industry is. I can't work on nothing, man. That new vehicle I have, I popped the hood on that and I'm like, I almost just wanted to suck my thumb. I'm like, what's that, man? What is that? I don't know what I'm looking at under there. It has the same concept as the old engines I'm used to working on, but it don't look the same. There's a lot of gadgets and thingamabobs in there, and man, it's spooky looking. And it probably isn't as complicated as it looks. But it's something that will be it's going to be changing much quicker. Everything changes much quicker. I mean, these cars basically drive themselves, which brings me into the truck driving. Anything that has to do with driving, forget about it. Forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Forget about it. Truck drivers, they already have trucks that will drive themselves. Trains, those will be fully automated. Any transportation or delivery job, that's going to be, I'm giving that less than 10 years when we start seeing all the truckers disappear, which is actually a good thing, because now apparently you don't have to be a citizen to be a truck driver. You don't have to read, according to some states. You don't have to read English, and you can wear a turban, just jump right up in there. I guess that's all I got. Happy trails. I'm out of here.